There's always been an innovation economy, and JPMorgan has an entire business dedicated to helping it thrive. By bringing together founders, startups, investors, and ideas, JPMorgan's commercial bank helps empower thousands of high-growth companies that are shaping the present and the future. With tailored banking solutions and a global business network, JPMorgan helps innovators scale for today and tomorrow. Visit jpmorgan.com/startups to find out how they can help you build your future. Products and services of JPMorgan Chase & Company and its affiliates are subject to availability, eligibility, and applicable terms and policies. JPMorgan Chase Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Hey everyone, this is TechCrunch Live, where we help founders build better venture-backed businesses. I'm Matt Burns, and thanks for being here today. I think it's hard to nail the good definition of company culture. It means something different to everyone, and I think that's what makes it hard to implement once you have a definition too. Everyone knows how to define specifics like earnings per share or even the terms deliverable, but ask people what the term company culture means and you'll get a dozen different answers. I guess to me, it's how employees act when the boss isn't around, or rather on the other side, how the boss acts when the employee isn't around. But I really don't know. And that's why we're going to talk about it today. I have with me, we have Lily Lyman from Underscore VC and Mike Greene from Hi Marley. And this is Mike's second startup. And I learned last week that when he was planning this company, the company's culture was a critical part of the early stages. And that's what we're going to talk about. And it's an important topic for Lily too. She founded a company, worked at Facebook in growth and connectivity for nearly 5 years. And she's been at Underscore VC for nearly 5 years now too. She was an early investor in Hi Marley, and she now sits as a board observer. I'm really excited about the event today. I think this is going to be a great topic to talk about. One more thing, and then after the conversation, we're going to have 3 startups present and pitch practice. Now, if you want to participate in next week's pitch practice, please use the form on TechCrunch to apply. Lastly, if you're watching the event on Grip, thank you. Send questions over using the Q&A tab and I'll ask them. And then also, if you look at the left rail, there's a button there that says events. Click on there. It's rather clever. You're gonna get a great listing of all the upcoming TechCrunch events, including the TechCrunch Live events. So with that being said, Lily, Mike, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for the invite.
Of course. Now, this is great. Now, when we first started planning this, we were going to talk about a different topic. And then we talked last week, and it was really clear to me that solving for the company culture is really critically important to you, Mike. So I'm hoping you can answer that hard question. What does company culture mean?
Yeah, I think great question. I think a lot of different definitions on this one. I think I like your one that culture is what people are doing when no one is looking. And so, like, what's going on over here right now is company culture. But Lily and I have jammed on this one. We've talked about culture versus values, and kind of there's a certain definite nuance there. But to me, it's really how you answer 2 questions, right? And the first question is, why do you exist? Why do you exist as a company? And it takes a little digging into understanding kind of you personally, how you would answer that question as well. And then the second question is how do we behave? And it's important for founders to think about, how do they behave and kind of the differentiators in their behavior that are maybe above the norm. So those are the 2 questions, Mike. Which one's more important? It's hard for me. It's a hard one to answer. I think that they both need to coexist. And if you get those right, the answers to those 2 questions really define your culture.
Yeah, Lily, same thing to you.
Yeah, I think you both covered 2 of the important pieces. I think of culture as, for the tech nerds out there, sort of the operating system of the business or the underlying platform upon which people do their work. And so similarly, I think an important question is, how do we behave? But I think that for me, that comes out of what do we believe to be true? And then how does that inform how we behave? And to your point, it should be sort of an underlying assumption or shared belief that guides behavior, whether somebody's watching or not. And personally, I think that culture should be something that is defined with a sharp enough point that you could sort of debate it, or it's defining, and there's different types of values baked within that are, they're not so generic that it could apply to anybody.
Sure.
really should inform, if you're making a tough decision, is there something, a piece of your culture and your values that help you decide which way to land on that decision?
And I think we're talking about more than just afternoon workshop about defining 4 terms that define the company, right? This is a larger discussion. So Mike, when you're founding Hi Marley, take us through that process. I know you're going to tell me to start early, but in practice, what does it really mean?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Matt, this is our second startup, and I think we touched on this the other day. To be fair, the first one was all about making a few bucks. It wasn't evil. It was just, there was no kind of mission, there was no kind of intentional culture, and it was a fine, it was a fine chapter of our life. We're proud of it, but a few life moments of maturity, having a few kids, kind of had us all thinking a little bit differently about
that. I mean, I have to be honest with you, Mike, that is the funniest way to define a successful acquisition. I mean, you guys were acquired, you didn't fail.
Yeah, it was fine, right? It was fine, but it was like, what was the goal, right? What was what was success? And I don't think we really had, anything other than a number like in mind the first go around, right? And then we got to the end of that, there was no like moment of there was no moment like that was amazing. It was just kind of like, okay, now what, right? And so more intentional this time around. I remember my co-founder John, our CTO John Miller, and I said, excited about this new one. There was definitely purpose and passion behind it, and I wanted to really dig in on that. And John was like, Mike, leave me alone. I'm trying to build the MVP.
Right.
And there was somebody turned me on to this book called The Advantage. So I grabbed a copy there. It's an awesome book, and it talks about 6 questions that you need to ask yourself. So if you're trying to build a company and a culture as opposed to just a product, you need to ask yourself some pretty important questions. And so I remember like it was required reading. I'm like, John, you got to read this book. Like Mitesh, we had Paul there as well, Lily. And we show up, and not everybody had read the book. And I remember, it was an emotional moment for me. I think I left. We'd rented like a Airbnb. We were kind of ready to jam, and not everybody had read the book. And I was upset. I left for like an hour. I went for a walk and came back, and I think the team realized like just how serious I was about this. John's such a humble guy. Like fast forward 4 or 5 years, he's like, that was the best thing that we ever did, was kind of define stuff up front. But it was, it's fuzzy stuff. It's like, it's not hard. It's a little bit motherhood and apple pie, if you think about it at the beginning. But we felt like we did a really good job.
Well, give me some terms here. What are these fuzzy things? What did you define at that Airbnb?
Yeah, and I think we've got some slideware on this if you want.
Yeah, let's bring up those slide decks.
Sure. There were six questions that we wanted to divine. And so, this is what we call now the Hi Marley One Love playbook. Every new hire goes through it. I actually talked about it today at our quarterly kickoff. So we talk about this all the time. And
let's go to the next slide, Julio.
Yeah, the next slide hits on the 6 questions. The first one is like, why do you exist? Right. That's a pretty powerful question to think about. The second question is, how do we behave? These are our values. Then we get into a little bit more tactical stuff like, what do we do? How we succeed? What's our strategy? What's most important right now? Like kind of focus. And then who does what? But the first 2 questions are the ones I mentioned that I think if you answer these right, they set the foundation for culture. So the first one for us, why do we exist? We're in the insurance space, right? We're empowering insurance companies to communicate better. And insurance exists to protect people. So we came up with this purpose for Hi Marley, is to protect people simply, ultimately by empowering insurance to communicate simply. And it took us a lot of tries to kind of get that right. I know it's a simple term, but we
Can you say it again for me, Mike?
Yeah, to protect people simply is our singular purpose. And the way we do that, I think the next slide touches on our mission, is empowering insurance to communicate simply and ultimately, protect what people love. So, protection is like a rung on Maslow's hierarchy, right? So it's a pretty important thing. And people probably don't think about insurance this way right now, right? So it's like a big problem to solve. protection and love are not words that come to mind when people think of insurance today, right? So it needed to be big, it needed to be, kind of powerful, it needed to kind of make people stop in their tracks, and something that we can all get behind. So we still talk about this, mission on a weekly basis today. And then, the second piece was our values, and we landed on 3. Lily might remember this. I think both Underscore and Hi Marley were going through some value stuff.
Same time, yeah.
Right.
So before we go into that, I'm curious about the timeline here. Was Underscore already an investor in you guys when you did this? What do you remember about this, Lee? I mean, I've got a recollection here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you had defined the values specifically, but you had defined the culture and the importance of culture in what you were building. And I think, Mike and I were going down memory lane the other day, and I was laughing because when he first came in to pitch us, I guess this was end of 2019. It was an impressive pitch, but we gave him the feedback, and I think we used the word folksy because he had spent so much time in the pitch talking about the type of company that he was going to build and the type of people and the type of culture, which is incredibly important, and it was very attractive to us. But he almost pitched that it was such an important part of the pitch. He almost skipped over this massive market and this huge opportunity and some of the exciting, what I'd call meat of an investment opportunity, which, transparently, usually we get the opposite. We get too much of that, not enough of that. Okay, well, what are you really building? And I think what it signaled to us, even though we gave him the feedback that it was folksy, and I don't know how that landed, but it also was a signal that he was building something for the long term. This wasn't just a quick product or a quick flip of a company. You don't spend that much time thinking about culture from day one if you're not in it to build something big and enduring. So it struck us. So
I think Mike said it well earlier that's the difference between building a product and building a company, right? Is you have to define these things. So Mike, why was it so important? What was it from the first startup that really influenced you to do this for the second one?
Yeah, I think, a few life events that just kind of was like, go do something great, go leave,
sure,
a better place. And then I think the second part, I remember when we were just starting Hi Marley, there was a customer I worked with, I had a lot of respect for him, had worked in the industry for like 40 years, was probably in his last chapter before retirement. And he said, I just want to work with people I enjoy working with. Like, I'd gone through a 40-year career where he felt like he never had that. And it was like eye-opening to me, right? And it was like, wow, like, well, how do you do that? Like, how do you create that? And started kind of geeking out on culture and values. And we had taken a stab at some generic values at first, and some that, like, frankly, didn't come natural. There was one that wasn't like natural for me. I wasn't that great at. And we were like, these are our values. And we started, talking about them. And someone's like, I don't know if you guys are behaving that way. And so we had to like tweak them and get feedback and kind of dig deep into like, who are we? How do we behave? And ultimately we came up with these 3 values that we thought, as co-founders and kind of early team members, we all felt were quite inherent in us, a little bit different, define us a little bit differently.
Well, take us through this slide right now.
Yeah, so the first one is be humble, and so this one's really about being open-minded to learn from anybody anywhere, right? And I don't know, this is probably something that came from the parents, but I think the co-founding team, I think lives this pretty well. Our early team members live this pretty well. And, it's just something that we thought, if we do this, we're going to learn faster, right? We're going to learn faster if we go in with this mindset. We're going to build trust faster. But it's like that, that on its own wasn't enough. So, we're in the insurance business. You combine like an entrepreneur and a insurance guy, you get like a really calculated risk taker. So Max Courage, the whole concept, like Max Courage, is like dream big, but like take calculated risk. And actually, if you take calculated risk, we believe you can dream even bigger, right? So
that I gotta stop you. That was my mom's mantra to me as a child. She was an insurance agent for 20 years. And that's pretty much what she put into me.
Is that right? That's amazing. That's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, insurance, the insurance folks in insurance are a special kind of people. So that's awesome.
Sorry to take you off there.
No, yeah, the last one's Ubuntu, and this was the Celtics use this. Nelson Mandela used this term. It's a little more than teamwork. The whole concept is like, let's understand each other's purposes as best we understand them ourselves, right? Passion, and then let's align our own purpose behind a greater purpose, right? So we can talk a little bit more about that. I think Lily and I learned how to do that with each other a little bit throughout the last few years as well.
Well, I can see what Lily is saying here, that it does kind of come off as folksy, even if this is the second generation.
You ready? Are you ready to invest now?
Well, I'm hoping Lily can help translate this into VC world talk. And how do you identify these things that are important?
Yeah, I think, one of the things that struck us, and I do think it influenced our excitement to invest, I think we sort of already had it, but when I remember visiting the Hi Marley team that was out of a WeWork at the time. I think there was about 7 people. And I think I was sort of already in the phase of chasing Mike with the term sheet, which tended to be my behavior over the next 3 years. But we met Steph Bishop, who was someone that Mike had hired within the first 7 or 8 hires. I think it was mostly engineers. I think there was one sales guy, Brian, and then Steph. And, Mike and the team had brought on a head of people at the earliest stages. And to be honest, that was unusual. You don't normally see that role or that profile brought onto the team that early. Typically, I had seen it at sort of a Series B or beyond. And I think to me, that was a signal of how serious they were in investing in culture, and again, to establish a culture that could endure. And so I think, it is an important piece in an investment decision, because part of what we're thinking about is, can they attract great people along the way? And at every stage, that's incredibly important. And Mike and I have spent a lot of time sort of thinking about people and how do you bring them in, and how do you attract people who, you're punching above your weight in hires. And there's some specific examples. I think most recently we brought on an incredible independent board member, and people always ask me, well, why did you invest? What's unique about this company? And I think the deliberate investment in the culture, which is sort of driven by these values, actually becomes a differentiator and a superpower in a busy market, and particularly when you're competing for talent. We think about, what is the employee experience that you're offering? You got to pitch it. And the culture piece, I actually think, becomes a way that you can attract incredible talent. And I will say that, Mike is too humble, per value number 1, to talk about this, but I do think his superpower is being able to quickly identify people's purpose, maybe sometimes even before they're able to, and seeing and understanding if it aligns with what we're trying to achieve. So it is definitely a superpower of Mike. We've had some talks about it as we've gone through over the years of aligning there. So
yeah, Mike's color balance is a little off. His cheeks are getting red as you're embarrassing him. So I'm hoping, Mike, that you can explain what this early hire as a people person could do that you as the founder could not.
Yeah. Well, I remember. I remember when, Lily and Michael with Underscore first met Stephanie, and they were blown away by her energy. And I think, the thought that we had engaged her so early on. I chased Stephanie around, not with a term sheet, but an offer letter for some time. That she was working part-time on the talent side. She had a couple daughters that she was busy with, and she wasn't, interested in kind of a full-time gig. So it took a few months, but I remember having her in the room with my co-founders. We interviewed her, and she left the room, and everyone was just kind of blown away. She was like, she kind of lived, some of these values better than we did. And it's like, well, that's the person we need to help kind of, bring in new talent, like go explore kind of people with these kind of common values. And she started part-time, and then she led recruiting, and now she's our chief people officer, and she's been a complete game changer for the company as a result. I trust her implicitly with kind of holding these values up high as we bring in new people, but also as we coach ourselves, including myself, on behaving these and living these as best we can. So that's a special person. I think if you can find that person early on, it can be a total differentiator.
Yeah. Now, what values did you want to promote, and did these change over time?
So Lily and I have talked about this, and Lily chime in. I think culture changes, but values shouldn't if you define them the right way. Now, like, what do we mean by max courage? Exactly. What is a
Yes.
dream big calculated decision? Leave that open enough for debate, right? So I think it's important to kind of like have them defined enough where it kind of differentiates you, but also have them open enough so you can evolve as a company. You bring on somebody new that's got a different, diverse perspective. They're additive to your culture. Values stay the same, but they may get us to think about a value differently than we had thought about it in the past, which is a really cool, thing to experience.
Lily, you're nodding your head quite vigorously over there.
I strongly agree. I think Mike said it well. And that's something that I caution people when they're hiring. There's 8 million articles written about watch out for hiring for culture fit, because if you don't define it well enough, then you're putting yourself at risk of all sorts of types of biases and hire like. But if you think about hiring for value fit, it's more defined and it creates more room, as Mike said, to augment your culture. And hopefully every hire that you bring in, particularly at an early stage, it can have sort of an outsized influence. But I actually think that's true even at a later stage. You do want your culture to be augmented by the diverse perspectives that you're bringing in. But as Mike said, you have a shared set of value system that I think allows that agility that is that can be and probably should be in culture. So it allows for diversity, but within a set of shared values.
Yeah,
I think it's super important.
Yeah.
So how do you call out individuals that are running against this culture?
Say that one more time, man.
Well, let's say there's an individual or an employee that doesn't align anymore, or how do you call them out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm kind of geeking out on this other book. I'm sure a lot of the audience know and heard of Radical Candor, but being able to call some of that out. The behavioral call outs are much harder than like the black and white kind of performance related stuff. So I think most importantly is to call out the good behavior, the good examples, the good stories. So actually Stephanie leads this every 2 weeks. We talk about a value story with at least one individual from the company that exhibited, be humble or max courage or Ubuntu. And we just put that up on a pedestal. We've got in our Slack channel, we've got little icons, one for each of the 3 values. So if there's a story, somebody you'll see the little be humble icon pop up. So it's more about kind of promoting the good. Certainly there's been moments where you're in a group and somebody says something, and at the end of the meeting, there's an opportunity to maybe pull them aside. So that, the way that came across might not have been considered humble. Here's how I interpret. How are you intending that comment? Here's how I interpreted that comment. Like, what do you think? And then, that gives them an opportunity to, give that some thought. But yeah, it's important stuff. I mean, we put kind of values ahead of performance, right? We'd rather have a high performing, person on the behavior side that needs a little help on the competency side, right? Learn some new stuff, or then the other side of the spectrum, high performer, low on values. Like that doesn't work out in the Hi Marley culture. Yeah.
Well, I guess it ultimately comes down to sales, though. So how do you make sure that your customers see all these values?
Yeah, I think that one. How do they see it? I think it's a feeling. I don't know, Lily. You've kind of experienced the Hi Marley culture. The best compliment that we've gotten from one of the best compliments we've gotten from our customers, even when our product was in its infancy and it wasn't like a whole product, let's say, right? So it wasn't delivering the best user experience. Mm-hmm. The customers like, we love your people. Like, they listen. We know it's going to get better because they're humble, right? They're listening, they're understanding, they're iterating. Like 2 weeks ago, we've made progress in, the last couple of weeks on this. And they just want to, we've gotten feedback that we just want to hang out with the Hi Marley team and think about the future, right? So I think that's a good sign when you get that. But yeah, there's different customers with different cultures, and some of them I think we jive really well, and some of them are a little bit unique, and it's important for us to appreciate different cultures as well. Not everybody is for and exactly aligned with the Hi Marley way, but I think we put it out there. Here's who we are, and I think our customers respect that regardless.
Now, Lily, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to chime in. I think that also the nature of your business is to improve your customer experience. And so I think, that in and of itself is such an important sort of mission, and the fact that how they interact with you as your customer matters, because it's also a reflection of how you can help them do what they're trying to do with their own customers better. So it's, I actually think in your business in particular, that positive experience of you guys is even more important, because it's a reflection of how you're going to deliver the value you're promising. Sorry to cut you off, Matt.
No, it's fine. But I was going to ask you, Lily, what's the best way to pitch this to an investor?
I think, I think demonstrating that it's defined is useful. Putting the work in to actually do that is something that we don't often see at the earliest stages. We often will ask people, what is your next critical hire? What are you looking for? And I think being able to articulate that, not just in a function, but also sort of the type of person you're trying to bring in, again, sort of can help reflect the culture that you're trying to build, or even if you're even thinking about that. So that's something that we ask. We often ask, like, what is success for you in this endeavor? Because it is so personal from a founder perspective. And you can quickly get a sense of what is their why. I mean, building a startup is incredibly hard, as everybody can see the journey. And so the underlying motivation matters to get through the highs and the lows. And so you can tease out sort of pieces of the cultures and the values in questions like that of sort of, what is your why? Why are you doing this? I often ask, if you weren't doing this, what else would you be doing? And if you have a clear sort of sense of purpose in what you're doing, the way that Mike and the team has, that shines through in those answers. And if founders don't have really strong answers in that, you can also kind of see that perhaps there's cultural pieces or motivational pieces that aren't aligned to what we're trying to do, which is back long-term iconic companies. We want companies that are going to be here for a very long time. And so those are some of the things that we look for in founders in the earliest days, and some of the ways that we tease out some of those culture questions.
There's a question from the audience. Can different cultures sometimes reach something together that becomes special? You're nodding your head, Lily.
Yeah. I think certainly. I think that's part of the power of diversity, and diversity of thought, and diversity of ways of being. Again, if culture is sort of how you do things, there can be a superpower in bringing together different hows in terms of what you're trying to achieve. But I do think you have to figure out how you will operate in trying to achieve something together. So again, if culture is something that surrounds shared values, I'd go back to making sure you have a sense, at least some overlapping shared values, even if you have different cultures and trying to achieve something. I know Mike have a different perspective.
Plus one on that. I believe culture starts in the boardroom as well, because we had the luxury of being able to think of it that way from the beginning. And I remember somebody saying, make sure you don't have any white knucklers in the boardroom. Right. And so I think that's just when the culture is not a match. It feels like white knuckling. It feels stressful, right? And so that was something, obviously Underscore Hi Marley, but really important for me and Lily, right? And I remember, we didn't talk about this one before the call, but I remember when Lily shared, it was a thesis maybe, or a document from college where you wrote about emprender, right?
Yeah, my business school essay for Stanford.
Business school essay, and I think that translates to entrepreneur.
It means to endeavor, basically. It's like the verb form of entrepreneur in Spanish. Yeah.
So we got vulnerable with each other over the years, a lot of different moments through that, but that was something that she shared with me, and she shared her purpose, like with creating value in the lives of others is like what mattered to her. And so I think there was. So now, Lily's on the board team. We were lucky to have some other board team. And we think of it like a board team. Like it's not a bunch of people that put a check in, right? It's like, it's a diverse group with awesome, set of, differences, but also, shared values. Like we talked about the values. We even sent the value deck to investors and prospective investors along with the investor pitch. It was cool. We sent it via DocSend, so sometimes you can see like some investors spend a lot of time in the culture stuff and some like ignore it. So that's like a sign as well. But like Lily always cared about that. We're lucky to have a couple other investors that cared about that stuff, and it makes such a difference. Culture in the boardroom kind of, transcends the entire company.
Well, I got to say that I really enjoyed this conversation, and you two are some of the nicest people I've talked to so far in this show. It's been an absolute joy. I think the culture that you've defined here is evident. Mike, you are humble and you do all these things. And so it definitely starts at the top with you and goes all the way down. Wonderful time. This has been great. Okay, so with that said, it's time to switch gears a little bit. We're going to go into our pitch practice. Now, we've selected 3 different startups from the audience that are here to pitch. The first one is Bree Thomas. We're going to bring Bree on, and as Bree turns on camera and the microphone, they have 2 minutes to pitch. And then Mike and Lily will give them 4 minutes of feedback on their presentation, storytelling, and stuff like that as well. Bree is here to present balance. Are you there?
I am. Hi.
Hi, Bree. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. Well, let's start your timer now. You have 2 minutes to present your company.
Great. Hi, I'm Bree. I've been in tech for 20 years, but for 10 years, I was a bartender. And what I learned from that experience is that gig workers live and die by their schedule, constantly adjusting their lives around it. And today's financial apps, they don't get that. Traditional budgeting, meaning plan out every dollar and stick to that plan, is baked into the culture and the features of today's tools. But for a gig worker, their plan is constantly changing. Hey, budgeting, it's an important skill. We should all know how to live within our means. But for a gig worker, it's only half the equation. Today's tools don't help the gig worker do one very important thing: project cash flow. And that's the problem that Balance solves. We help gig workers forecast their financial futures so they can make better decisions about how much they want to work, spend, or save to reach their goals. And we provide that forecasting in a context that makes sense, on a calendar. Because for a gig worker, time is money, and their schedule, it dictates both. We have an opportunity to make financial planning for the gig worker as habitual as making their schedule. And we'll make money when the gig worker achieves their goals through that planning. Balance is free for the gig worker, and the data we collect on their spending habits, working patterns, financial goals, it has value. We can sell that data in various ways, whether in aggregate or specific to companies and marketers who specialize in financial products. There are 59 million gig workers in the US today, and the gig economy is growing 3 times faster than the US workforce as a whole. This group takes a different view of their money, and it's time they had a tool that did too. We're about to kick off a fundraising round, and if you're as passionate about this as I am, I'd love to chat. Thank you.
Bree, that was wonderful. It's like you practiced this. Thank you so much for that. Lily, let's start with you.
Sure. First of all, I thought that was excellent. And just to highlight why quickly, I mean, you clearly, routed, it's driven by personal experience. You clearly articulated a problem, clearly articulated a solution, and why it's needed now. And I also like that you made sure you touched upon the market size. So I really think you hit on the big things. If I were to add anything, if you had 12 more seconds in your time, which you probably didn't, but it's always useful to know sort of where are you in terms of, are you just at idea phase? Do you have a product that you've tested? Like what work have you done to sort of stress test this hypothesis of a problem and a potential solution? So that would be the only thing that I would add, but I really think you did an excellent job. Oh, sorry. The other thing I'd add is if you are fundraising, sort of what is the ask or sort of how much you're looking to raise. Again, you might need 12 more seconds to do that, but I would add that in there too.
I'm curious, Bree, how much are you raising?
We are raising 1 million, and I'd be happy to talk about traction as well and where we are if that's of interest for this exercise.
Let's do a minute of that.
Sure. So where we're at right now is we've done over 100 customer interviews, and we have tested a prototype. In 2 weeks, we're going to have the first version of our alpha. That is going to include being able to connect your bank, run scenarios, and we'll map recurring transactions as well in that. And then we've had a preliminary partnership conversation with a gig platform that's interested in featuring us as a preferred partner when we're ready to go to market. And they boast 600,000 gig workers on their platform. We just started with this as an idea in late Q4. I came on full time in Q1, so we've been working really hard.
That's great. Mike, any feedback?
Oh, Lily's, I think this is officially the first time I'm on the other end of one of these, and Bree did way better than I ever did in a 2-minute pitch. So awesome work. I mean, you know me, I get with the folksy questions. I'm curious, like what's the significance of the brand balance?
What's the significance of the brand? Yeah,
why do you name it that?
Oh, so the product itself, as a very first start, will project your daily bank balance on a calendar for as far into the future as you want to see. That's where we're starting. Because when I was a bartender many moons ago, that is how I figured out my cash flow. I would print out a 30-day with all the boxes on it calendar. And that is how, to be honest, my roommate and I, who was also a bartender, that is how we would figure out our cash flow. And back then, most of our life, we were concerned about how do we get to our next vacation in Mexico. And that's the way we had to do it.
That's still awesome. My focus on life. All right.
That's fantastic.
Great. Anything else, Mike or Lily?
No, I'm in.
Yeah.
That's great. Bree, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bree.
Okay, next one up, we have Matt, and Matt is coming to us with Inksearch.co. And the URL for that is Inksearch.co, and I'm going to paste it into the Grip chat room right now. Matt, are you there? If you can turn on your camera and mic, and there you are.
Thank you very much for letting me here. I don't see the timing, but hope it will start soon.
It'll start as soon as you start talking. There you go.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about tattoos. Tattoos are all around us. Just think how many of you who listen to me have tattoos or crave to have one. But not falling short on facts. Global tattoo industry is worth $150 billion. 30% of US citizens has at least one tattoo. Tattoo market is growing 9.7% per year as millennials love tattoos. And there is higher search volume in Google for keyword tattoo than hairdresser or doctor. But digital tattoo world is untouched. You need to spend on average 2 weeks on searching idea or inspiration via Instagram or Pinterest. And when you found one, it occurs artist is located in Berlin or Rio de Janeiro. You end up just with a dream. The question is how to change it. That's how. Inksearch is first dedicated AI search marketplace that connects artists with tattoo lovers. We are already #1 in the European Union. We helped over 160,000 people to find artists, and we have more than 20,000 bookings per month. We made tattoos easy, simple, and quick to find online. Our revenue model is based on subscription fee for artists and success fee for clients. Within end of the year, our monthly revenue will hit $50,000 per month. Our company is already backed by 3 VCs within total investment of $800,000. Now we are looking for additional $500,000 for 10% of equity to boost our growth in the US market. My name is Matt Lagowski, and our unfair advantage is team built by tattooed savvy experts who worked for Google, Samsung, and Rocket Internet. And cheers from Milano because I'm in the European Union. Thank you very much, and I'm waiting for your questions.
Very good, Matt. And before we get started, Lily and Mike, I gotta ask, do you have tattoos?
I have.
Matt does.
Matt does. I do not. Thought about it when I was 18 and then chickened out.
For sure, a lot of your friends has.
They do.
Absolutely. So, Lily or Mike, do you have any feedback?
Mike, do you want to go first? Or you?
I mean, I love the numbers. You know, it was awesome to, you kind of laced in the market, the numbers, the growth, a few different kind of, variables that like got me thinking about this bigger market than I would have guessed. It's a growing market. I think the problem seems real. The problem and opportunity seems real. So I'm definitely intrigued. I think, I always go to the question on why. Like, why is this important? So I'd love to hear, kind of your thoughts on this. Like, what's the impact when you guys realize kind of your full vision here, and why is that good?
Of course, just to be true, when I worked for Rocket Internet in Berlin, I would struggle to find tattoo artists when I worked there. I need to go to tattoo studio by bike when I was intern, talk in German with people to get a tattoo. So just imagine your friends looking for tattoo and ending up with the random tattoo studio with decision for all their life. We want to educate the customers, and we want to help them to find the best ones. Just imagine that you're finding the without booking hotel on the other side of the world, like Berlin for you. It's super hard. But if you have such a tool, you can find directly who has the best pricing, who has the best style, and where you can do it like in 2 weeks of period of time or 2 months of period of time. So as a tattoo professional, I believe that this world will really grow within the 21st century as tattoo becomes art, not only tattoos.
Cool.
Very good. Lily?
Question I would have is how you think about building the marketplace. In a marketplace model, there's always a chicken and the egg. Do you go after the artist first? Do you go after the people searching for the artist? What's worked for you, and what are you going to invest in order to continue to build that marketplace?
Of course. So we are a SaaS-enabled marketplace. We do everything for Tattoo Studio as a software, and we help them to get more clients. So Tattoo Studio operates on our system. This is more than 4,000 tattoo studios in the European Union who use our system as their first tool. And just to imagine, most of the tattoo studios in the United States use Google Calendar to do so. They just manage their calendar, nothing more, their inventory, their clients, reminders, and so on. So what we do, we grasp all the attention from the beginning till the end. And we want to build, our mission is to be everything in one place for the tattoo industry, especially for the artist and for the client, to educate them, especially the newbies.
Very good.
That's very cool. I would weave that part into your pitch, because I think it also demonstrates sort of a recurring revenue model, which is interesting. You're almost like a vertical SaaS platform, but for tattoo parlors. Yes. I'm understanding you correctly. And so that's a attractive sort of anchor from a business model perspective, and you can see a go to market there to get that side of the marketplace before you get both the artists and then the end customers. But that's cool. I would weave that into the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, of course.
I'd love to like weave the point in around like what percentage of tattoos don't come out the way that the customer wanted it to, like maybe even like if you're like, you can invest in getting a botched tattoo and you could show them like, oh, look, that might be going overboard. But I love when you hit on that problem, like, oh yeah, the quality and like, this is a permanent mark here. Like I want it to be the right thing. Like that definitely hit home with me as well.
I believe you will have one tattoo in a few years and you will see how we are helping with it on your skin.
Through Inksearch. Love it.
All right, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Matt, are you in Germany right now?
I'm in Milano.
Oh.
I live in Milan. We have our VC in Milan. So I'm half Polish and half Italian.
Well, thanks for joining us. I know it's late there, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, Matt. We'll see you next time. All right, we have one more company, and this company is Phyllis is going to present it. It's Shop My Porch, shopmyporch.com. Phyllis, are you there?
Cool.
There you are. Turn on your camera and your mic. I see you now. All right, Phyllis, you have 2 minutes to present your company starting now.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Hong, the founder and CEO of Shop My Porch. I'm a maker first and foremost, meaning I make handcrafted gifts from home. I've also sold on Etsy for years. During the pandemic, because everything was shut down and shipping was unreliable, I created a marketplace with a local focus to allow makers to promote their goods and then have buyers choose to either pick up the product off the maker's porch or have them delivered. We started as a Facebook group in San Diego, made improvements to the Etsy model, from fees to logistics. Then we built and proved several concepts that we use today across our web, iOS, and Android platforms. Shop My Porch is all about building up local communities. Strengthening all communities by building up local commerce is our North Star. There are dozens of amazing stories that I could tell you, but one of my favorites was about a young boy who needed comfort. His mother reached out to Shop My Porch and created a hunting for post. She wrote, "My son Eli has Down syndrome and he has surgery today. We left his favorite Vespa blanket at home, and because of COVID, we can't go home to get it." Instantly, 2 makers in her area responded that they could make it and deliver a custom Vespa blanket to the hospital in just 5 hours for free. After Robin and Eli got home, word of this kindness spread through the Shop My Porch community, and our generous makers were inundated with orders. I didn't start with a business plan or really think that this would turn into a business. I went in with my gut feeling on what my community needed and dove right in. In just 9 months, Shop My Porch amassed nearly 25,000 users with a minimal marketing spend. We discovered that local buyers love to connect with, the local community. And
all right.
And right now we are asking for a $3 million raise to build up our platform across, along with our UI UX, across 3 platforms.
Very good, Phyllis. Your time's up, but thank you so much. And I went to your site, put in my zip code, and I'm in the middle of Michigan. There's somebody right by me that's on here.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, this is really neat. Okay, great. Lily, do you have any feedback?
I do. Well, first of all, I love your why, sort of the why you're doing this, why this matters to you, and what you're trying to achieve. That came across very loud and clear, very authentically. And I think that's one of the most important things to have come across. So I thought you did that very well. I liked the personal story, both because it aligned with your why, but also showed sort of tangibly, how does this come together? What's a real use case of the value prop? So I thought that was effective as well. I would, if you had had 20 more seconds, I'd be curious on sort of the raise that as with my investor hat, I'm always curious, okay, what are the milestones, what you're trying to achieve in this next chapter with this fundraising? What do you hope the business looks like? What are you focused on from either a team building or product building or customer building perspective in this next chapter? So milestones would be, if you'd had, a few more minutes, then that's a piece that I would bring in. And again, if you had more time or if you were sort of iterating on your deck, I would think about also why is this approach going to be more effective than some of the other players out there, like a Facebook community, Facebook Marketplace or things like that. And clearly there's a personal touch piece, there's a maker piece to it. So it came across a little bit, but that would be a piece I'd continue to be curious about. Why is this going to be such a better hook for the people you're trying to attract? But I thought you did a great job.
Thank you.
Great. Mike?
Plus one on, just kind of pulling on the heartstrings with the personal story and kind of the local. I mean, weaving in kind of, the last couple of years, there's been a unique world here. So, I guess I agree with Lily. Lily's taught me a thing or two on how to think about early stage. She talked about team and market, and so you love to hear the team passionate about this. And then I was kind of going like, how big could this be, right? Like, how big could this be? And I think Lily's point on like, how do you differentiate from some of the big players, and why would customers choose you over the alternatives? I think there's definitely something there. How big could this alternative marketplace be is where my head goes. So like a few more numbers. Love the 25,000 users. That was great. Congratulations on that. That's no small feet, and I wish you luck on this race.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Well, anything else?
I guess when I start stumbling, we have 25,000 users. What our local buyers love is they love to connect with the local makers, all while saving on shipping, keeping money in the community, and many times they get their custom items within just a day. So our hunting for feature, our average order value for that is nearly double of our regular, say, an e-commerce purchase. And so that is our MVP right there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm glad you got that in. Well, Phyllis, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. And Mike and Lily, this has been an absolute treat. You learned a lot today about culture. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing that internal documents about your company's values, Mike. That was great. So until next time, I'm Matt Burns, and this is TechCrunch Live. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
All right. Thanks, Matt.